The AI landscape just had what a lot of people are calling a seismic shift. We are moving well beyond simple reactive chatbots. We're really entering a new era of true autonomy.
That is absolutely right. For months, I mean, the whole conversation was about how intelligent these tools could be. Now, that discussion has shifted entirely to how operational they can be, how much actual repeatable business work they can handle.
And we're focusing today on Manus AI's super agent update. This is where, the integration of GPT-5 or models in that class creates this foundational difference. It's the leap from a highly capable calculator to a self-managing operational system.
And the core claim, and what we're going to dive into, is the super agent's ability to autonomously plan, execute, and then fix its own errors. It
Hmm.
can run these really complex, multi-layered workflows for 20, maybe even 30 steps without you having to constantly babysit the process.
Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to break down this complex system for you. We want you to walk away really understanding the true architectural advantage of this super agent. It promises results that are, 10 times faster than anything we've seen before?
That's the claim. So our roadmap starts with that core differentiator, the shift from reactive tools to autonomous systems. Then we'll dissect the three massive architectural upgrades with a special focus on what they're calling the Army architecture.
And finally, we ground ourselves because this powerful technology, it is not a magic wand. We need to cover the hard limits and critically analyze the return on investment for knowledge workers like you. Okay, let's unpack this shift.
Let's start right there, because the language of AI agents can still be pretty confusing. When we talk about autonomous systems, we're contrasting them with that reactive model everyone knows, the ChatGPT style.
Right. That reactive model is powerful, but it's passive. It follows a simple loop. You give it an input, it processes, and it gives you one response back. It's always just waiting patiently for the next instruction. Kind of like a highly skilled intern who needs constant direction.
Exactly. By contrast, the Manus AI super agent is an autonomous operational system. You define the final objective. Let's say, research the top 20 MBA programs, compare them on 7 key metrics, and format it all into a presentation outline. The agent just takes over the entire project management from there.
And what's fascinating is how human the approach seems to be. It doesn't just pull from one source. It simulates what a seasoned researcher would do. Browse the web, cross-reference data, extract complex info, and, this is the key part, self-correct when it hits a snag.
Yeah, think about hitting a 404 error or a broken link. A reactive bot just stalls. It waits for you to fix it. The super agent simply logs that roadblock and then autonomously generates a plan to route around it. It'll try a different search term, maybe verify a URL, or just move to the next source on its list. That's smart work.
And the really big change here is sustainability. Normal AI, it just loses coherence so quickly. If a task goes beyond, 5 or 6 steps, the model starts to forget the initial context, the output gets messy. But the super agent, with its persistent memory and architecture, can sustain reasoning for 20 or more hours on a single project. It maintains the context of every single decision it made hours before. It's really the difference between a simple task list and a full-time self-managing project director.
So that difference, this sustainable reasoning over these complex operations, that's what people are really paying for. It's the foundation.
Correct. So what single characteristic makes this system 10 times faster? It's that it acts on objectives and manages its own process without your constant supervision.
Let's move into the first major technical development then, which provides the sheer intelligence behind the sustainability. Upgrade 1, the intelligence leap. This is the core engine upgrade. We're talking about the integration of GPT-5, or a model that achieves that new class of intelligence. And this jump isn't about it being slightly better at writing a poem. It enables truly agentic tasks, these complex multi-step workflows that require deep, sustained thinking.
And we can actually quantify that consistency jump. Previously, these agents could, handle 3 to 5 steps before the coherence just broke down? Now, with this new engine, the capability jumps to 20 or 30-step workflows while maintaining near-perfect consistency. That's a massive leap in reliability.
And that consistency translates directly into saved time and money. I mean, imagine a workflow that involves research, synthesizing data, structuring a report, and then drafting key findings. That kind of work used to require 8 to 12 hours of human labor.
You're talking about replacing an entire workday of structured grunt work.
Precisely. The reports are showing these multi-step projects now complete in under an hour, all for the cost of a subscription. It just eliminates these huge repetitive blocks of work entirely.
So how does this advanced coherence save businesses real time and money? It seems like it's by replacing those many hours of human labor, by sustaining deep thought for these big multi-step projects.
That's it. It fundamentally changes what the human researcher even does.
Okay, this is where the architecture gets really fascinating. Upgrades 2 and 3. This is where the sheer operational power, the speed comes from. Let's look at the specialized tools in the super agents army.
Yeah, let's start with upgrade 2. Advanced image processing, the visual agent. This shows how Manus goes beyond just generation. Most image AI tools, they generate things from scratch. This tool specializes in really intricate adaptive editing.
So for example, instead of manually masking an image, you can just tell it, change all the blue elements in this picture to red, and it will just do it.
It does it. It identifies those specific hue values across complex shadows and reflections and executes the change. But the real insight for the super agent is the batch processing intelligence. This visual agent can handle an instruction like, apply these edits to 100 product photos, but adjust the white balance adaptively for each product's unique lighting.
Okay, so it's not just executing the same instruction 100 times. It's using its intelligence to adapt that one instruction to 100 different contexts simultaneously.
Exactly. The sources are noting this saves e-commerce sellers thousands a month because it processes entire catalogs in under an hour, adjusting as it goes. It frees up the human designer for creative work.
And now we get to upgrade 3. This is the undesirable game changer, smart task assigning, or what they're calling the army architecture.
This is the critical pivot. It's moving from sequential thinking to parallel action. The old agent model was strictly sequential, right? Agent A finished, pass it to Agent B. If Agent B got stuck,
The whole workflow just stalled.
it stalled until a human fixed it. Yeah. The super agent model completely changes that. It analyzes the entire requirement, breaks the objective into these parallel work streams, and assigns specialized agents to each stream at the same time.
So like the image agent we just talked about, or a data extraction agent.
Exactly. They work independently, but they coordinate all their shared findings in real time through that core intelligence layer. This is how you get that 10 times speed increase.
Whoa. Just
Huh.
imagine scaling that capability, dividing a massive global knowledge problem into instantaneous parallel tasks across 1 billion queries. It fundamentally changes the throughput of complex intellectual labor.
Well, the open source development example they use highlights this perfectly. The system was tasked with creating its own new AI agent system from scratch.
So instead of one long, slow sequence where one agent researches, then another analyzes.
It immediately deployed a parallel army. Agent 1 went off to research every existing open source agent for competitive analysis. Agent 2 analyzed repository structures. Agent 3 defined the new architecture and core features, all at the same time.
That army architecture sounds incredible for speed, but what stops the final output from becoming fragmented or messy if all these agents are working in parallel?
That integrity is handled by the core system. It acts as the project manager, combining the results and coordinating the shared findings to make sure you get one clear answer.
Okay, the coordination layer, that's key. So that structural integrity is essential. Now let's talk about the hard limits. It's easy to hear all this and treat it like a set and forget magic wand, but that would be a mistake. The sources point out 4 key limitations.
The first one is simple. Hard tasks can fail. Manus is amazing at boring, structured data gathering. It struggles when the task requires highly creative work or nuanced personal opinion or specialized domain knowledge that just isn't on the open web.
Right. Things like a very specific rare medical diagnosis or planning a novel marketing strategy that relies on deep human intuition.
Exactly. So the takeaway for you is clear. Use the agent to stop doing the structured, repetitive work and reserve your expensive human effort for applying real expertise and judgment.
The second limitation is external friction, web browsing limits. It navigates the open web well, but it can't steal passwords. It still hits walls with authentication systems, SPAPT CHAs, and most commonly, paywalls.
The workaround here is just pragmatic. You still need your human subscriptions for those critical paywalled sources. Use Manus for the 80 to 90% of general research, and then you manually supplement the rest.
Then the third issue is context memory limits. Even with GPT-5's big leap in coherence, that context is not infinite. Very large projects, like, say, a 100-page report using 500 different sources, still need to be broken down into clear, phased milestones.
Yeah, you have to treat it like an extremely capable team member who still needs clear direction,
Yeah.
not some oracle that can swallow the entire internet.
And I'll be honest, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself when I make my own projects too broad or complex. It's a necessary discipline we all have to learn.
That brings us to the final limit. The learning curve exists. The misconception is that because it's autonomous, you don't need to learn anything.
Hmm.
The reality is you must learn how to structure complex goals into clear, actionable objectives that the Army can actually follow. The source suggests expecting, 10 to 20 hours of active use to get really competent.
So, if it fails on those specialized tasks, what role should human expertise play now?
The human's role is to provide the creative judgment. Use the agent for the boring, structured data gathering, but save your expertise for the final, personalized opinion.
Okay, let's pivot to the final segment, which is always the most important for our listeners, the quantifiable value, the return on investment.
For anyone who bills for research or analysis, the answer is a resounding yes. It's worth it. Even the mid-tier plans pay for themselves if Manus just saves you a few hours each month.
They offer a few pricing tiers, right? From a free tier for testing up to Plus at $39, and then a pro tier at $199 a month for high-volume users.
Right. And look at the value calculation on that Pro plan. If that $199 subscription eliminates even 20 hours of manual labor a month, which is a conservative estimate, the tool is delivering between $1,000 and $2,000 in saved value.
That's a huge multiplier.
For a service provider or a freelancer, the math is just simple. If the very first client project you use this on covers the entire year's subscription cost, the tool immediately becomes pure margin. It's a competitive advantage that pays for itself almost instantly.
So which professional group benefits most from turning saved time into direct revenue?
Oh, without question, it's agencies and freelancers. They can convert those saved hours directly into profitable work capacity, letting them take on more clients without hiring more staff.
That brings us to our final synthesis. The key insight that has to stick with you is this profound architectural shift. We've moved from a reactive chatbot to an autonomous operational system, an army of specialized agents all working in parallel.
Understanding the why and the how of that parallel architecture, that ability to divide complex labor and manage the project itself, that gives you an immediate edge in applying this stuff.
Okay, so now for the provocative thought to carry with you. We know this tool can replace 20, maybe 40 hours of manual structured labor every month. Consider the market pressure this creates. If tools like Manus AI drive the cost of standardized research towards zero, how must you adapt your own expertise?
You have to focus exclusively on creative judgment, personalized opinion, and complex human integration, the parts the AI can't touch yet. Because if your current job is purely structured data, well, the clock is ticking.
That is the core question for every knowledge worker today. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into autonomous agents. We encourage you to start exploring where you can apply this new architecture to your own work.